Hello, thank you for having me join you. As I talk about responsible AI, I am Sophia Velastegui, the AI CTO for Dynamic 365. We have hype cycles in tech industry, but the surge of development in AI doesn't feel like hype. And we're talking about a form of intelligence. For the first time, we're endowing computers with the capability that further augments our capability, like the ability to see, to hear, and to understand. This could be as important as any other advances, like the printing press, or electricity, or the internet. Each enriches our lives, but we also know that each brought on new societal issues. Trust. I'd like to speak today about the underlining point, and the most important point here is about trust. None of this is possible without trust. Trust is not something we can claim. You must earn it every day. First, we must earn trust in our business model and mission. We want to ensure that we are always fully aligned with the success of our partners and customers. Second, we must instill trust in technology. And it's why we believe privacy is a fundamental human right. And it's why we have an end-to-end cybersecurity approach to protect our customers. And as part of our culture in trust, it is why we believe in responsible AI. And ask the tough questions like, not just what can computers do, but also what should computers do? Our AI approach. We have three principles that underline our approach to AI. This first aligns to our mission, and that is about empowering people. It's about people becoming smarter through technology, and it's about people performing better with technology at their backs. It's about amplifying human ingenuity and enhancing the human experience. The second principle is that all our work in AI is predicated on innovation that matters. We lead in breakthrough innovation and make our breakthrough quickly and easily accessible. And for us, this is about democratizing AI and making it accessible for all. And third principle aligns to what we discussed earlier, is about responsible AI and empowering people to use AI in a way that reflects the goals, the intention, and values, not only about Microsoft, but our customers. And we will now look at a short video of how Microsoft AI is empowering some of these transformations.
Artificial intelligence isn't coming, it's here. It's the defining technology of our time. But it's human ingenuity that makes it so powerful. Jane started losing her vision when she was 12.
California Street.
She uses Seeing AI.
I crept down
the stairs and out the door,
which enables her to read and navigate her world. Microsoft AI is helping farmers adapt to climate change.
We can use technology to help feed the world without wrecking the planet.
Enabling wildlife conservation.
The ability to use AI really democratizes science. WildMe uses images from any source to help study endangered species.
And creating new ways for people with hearing loss to communicate.
I want the exact same information that my hearing friends have.
It's more than just imitating intelligence or sounding like a human. Microsoft AI is changing every industry, from healthcare.
And now you can see these finite details, the relationship with many structures.
To engineering. And telecommunications.
We are using artificial intelligence to change the way we are relating to customers.
AI lets us put people first.
The Microsoft tools really enabled us to breathe digital life into an iconic brand persona.
The product that we make is not a thing in a box.
No.
Microsoft AI empowers others to create experiences and potential. This is just the beginning.
Artificial intelligence, it's just opened up this whole world.
The future we invent is a choice we make.
Let us start about responsible AI and how ethics is key to that. We have created an Office of Responsible AI, and through various studies, it's not just about the policy and the process in place, but how are we empowering responsible use of AI? And just like we did with GDPR along data privacy, we're taking our learning, patterns, practices, and tools to help our customer to turn responsible AI into action for their organization. These are practical processes and learning. Number one is about the strategy and the culture. Today's business leaders can leverage the responsible AI learning path as taught for free in AI Business School in understanding the implication of AI in business, the importance of developing an AI-ready culture to resource for developing their own responsible AI strategy. Number two is design. How are we empowering design team with guidelines so the AI features are accessible to all of people? We have such guidelines such as guideline for human AI interaction, guideline for responsible conversational AI. This benefits AI for all the real world problems we are solving. Number three is the development and management, and empowering developers at every stage of the AI development lifecycle for pattern, practices, and tools for transparency over our pre-trained models, such as Interpret ML and transparency notes. We have been developed, used, and refined throughout Microsoft's own development process. We have 6 guiding principles for ethical AI that guides our work around AI. So we will concentrate now about accountability. What are the sources of AI risk? Data, model, and usage scenario. And AI can create possible harms around fairness, reliability, safety, and privacy. These are not only pose risk to the organization, but to the end user and society at large. It often results with the data, the AI model itself, and the model usage scenario. What do I mean by the data scenario is that before you even start using AI, we have to understand that it's being trained on the data itself. And does the data represent truly the diverse aspects of the scenario is being solved? Risk can obviously arise if the data lacks some of the coverage or have those considerations. So that is very important to consider. 2 is model. The AI models itself can also create risk if they're not well designed, which could cause them to make incorrect approximation, choose an inappropriate object to optimize for, or using a variable as a proxy for another that is unintentionally introduces bias. And it's important for organizations to consider these potential when building models. And after that, the model is built, it's about monitoring the model performance and making sure that it has that feedback loop so it's correcting itself so it doesn't drift over time. Usage scenario is, what are the scenarios you're trying to solve? Could that potentially introduce harm? And should it be a subject to risk assessment and governance approval? It is important to ensure that each AI model is only used for the purpose it was designed for and approved. With this inherent risk, it's imperative that organizations maintain oversight and control of AI solution to ensure compliance with regulation and ethical principle. This is not something you release and let go. This is something you release and you monitor and nurture and grow as we see with time. Next, we'll talk about transparency. What is the level of transparency that's needed for each AI application is based on materially of its potential impact to the customer and its dependency to other application and regulatory obligation. And we take this into account during the design itself. So we built the following components of transparency into your AI application. Traceability. Do we have clear understanding of the goals and the definition, the design choices, and any assumptions that's been made during the development process? It's also about understanding the source and the quality of the initial training data set and an additional data set used for retraining. Communication. Be forthcoming about when and why you chose to build and deploy AI, as well as the system limitations. Intelligibility. This is referring to the ability to people to understand and monitor the technical behavior of the AI system. It also means how it's surfaced to the end user so they understand what is going on. It's not simply about publishing, but it's understanding what were the things that were considered as you created and developed this. So why adopt ML ops for AI? Many people know about software development. Well, software development also has traceability and accountability through something called DevOps. Well, something is like that is needed for AI to also monitor and understand what is going on with your AI solutions that you have. And this is a major pain point for data scientists and software engineers all over the world. And scripts are stored on one person's machine and process is not repeatable, which is always a concern. Model versioning based on names and hard to know where the model is deployed. Accuracy of the model is determined during the training and might change over time because of data drift. And determine the value of the trained model decides where it should be deployed. So having the understanding of the importance of this is key. And so we have here some model versioning and storage, which provides a consistent ways to discover, store, track, and share models. Provide a consistent model metadata format and track where the model itself came from, which data was used, what experiments or previous models it was dependent on, and where the code or the notebook which houses the AI models itself reside. And track where the model is running and the model health. Control who has access to what models in understanding that. So Microsoft differentiates for AI through the core foundation is trust. How can we be ethical and responsible AI, accountable and transparency, expansive and open AI platforms so society as a large can partake in the development of the solutions that we have at large. And this is what makes it real for all of our customers and users. Thank you so much for having me here. Here are some additional resources that you can investigate further, and have a great day.